Good morning. Welcome, everybody. It's morning here on the East Coast. Thank you for being with us today. Really delighted and happy to have had our friend Elton Johnson, who you'll see on the call here, who has also served our country. And I don't think that, I think people are accustomed to say the perfunctory thank you for your service, but I think they really mean it, as opposed to when people say stuff that they don't mean. But thank you, Elton. Thank you for helping us along and keeping us safe. Super appreciative of it. And Elton is responsible for connecting us to in the Family Office Insights community, to Todd Davis and Endexx Corporation, and really interesting developments. We had Todd talk about on the Luminary series a few weeks ago about what's going on with CBD and so forth. And today we're going to be talking about the company and the opportunity as an investor. And so we are excited to have everybody today. Elton, you want to just say hi real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Arthur. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. I want to thank Arthur for setting this up. And I've listened to Todd's presentation on Facebook and the Luminary series, and what he has to say is really interesting. So I hope you enjoy this presentation, and thank you for attending.
Yeah, super appreciative for your introduction to Todd and company. So a little housekeeping here for Zoom. As you know, we can't hear or see you, but we can definitely engage with you through the chat box and the Q&A if you care to ask any questions. And we have a lot of people that are going to be on today, but we'll get to as many as we can. And please feel welcome to ask anything at any time, and we'll get to them as we go along. So Todd is in Arizona, and Elton is in California, and I am in Tampa, broadcasting live today. We're recording this, so if you care to review it or share it with somebody that would benefit from knowing about the subject matter a few days after today, you're welcome to find the recording on the Family Office Insights YouTube channel. Todd,
my Adobe system is not working really well right now, so we may have to just wing it a little bit.
Yeah. No
I don't mind. I'm good at winging it.
Yeah. Totally welcome the winging. Can you send me the PDF? Maybe I can try sharing it.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to. Elton, did I ever send it to you? The investor deck from March 31st?
No, I don't think so. I think what Brad sent me was an old copy. I don't think I have the new updated version.
The new one's much prettier.
So
yeah.
Bear with us, folks, just for little technical difficulties here. We'll get in it in a minute. Just stand by. So I can do a little commercial for Family Office Insights. We have a redesigned and more intuitive and prettier, thanks to the family team FOI, which is the team of people that organize these things and do all the hard work. They did a wonderful job of doing the Family Office Insights Events Hub. So you can find that you can find it on the website, and also we'll share the URL with everybody, but it lists all the upcoming events. Hopefully at some point we'll get back together in New York City and be able to have luncheons together and cocktails, of course. We look forward to that.
Yeah, nothing like the chicken and rice or salmon and rice platters.
Yeah, we try to be a little bit healthier than that.
Okay, it seems to be looking again better.
Okay, good.
Arthur, are you in Florida?
Yeah, I'm
Now?
out at Tampa. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I was out there a couple weeks ago, right at the tail end of spring break and the boat show. And I had one night left that I didn't pre-book, and there was not a hotel available from Palm Beach down to Miami.
I went to Miami for one night to see a screening of a movie, and I paid $600 to stay in a $90 a night hotel room, and that was the only one I could find.
Right.
The same was true with the cars. I came back and tried to rent a car, and there were 0 cars at the Tampa airport. Like
Wow.
not even a car to be available, no matter what I wanted to pay.
I have a feeling my Adobe system is down. So when I'm trying to retrieve the PowerPoints and everything else, it's not pulling.
And it also will not allow you to send it to me, for example, the document.
I can't pull it from an email, even if when I double click on it, that's what it says. Running instance of Acrobat has occurred. Okay. It's Acrobat.
Yeah. See if I can find an email from you with the.
Elton, send a note to Brad real quick, and he may be able to email it over to everybody. Apologies, people, everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here too.
Okay, I emailed him. Yeah, I don't have the newest deck, so Brad did not send that to me. So
Sorry, folks. We'll get this sorted out. Everybody's trying to find a plan B here, including me. Yeah, I don't seem to have one. Is there something on the website we can walk through?
I have it. I have it here now, I think.
Thank you for hanging out with us here, folks. I can see that you're all patiently there. Super appreciate it.
Okay. All right. I found it. Now let's see if I can open it. Okay, Arthur, I'm going to forward it to you real quick and you can
Sure.
manage it on your side.
Yeah, the AAB at Bavelis Group. Should come right up.
Okay.
All right, while I'm doing that, you want to just do a short intro?
Sure. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I appreciate the audience. Appreciate the time. We're actually in very busy times as a publicly traded company. We are Endexx Corporation. Behind me, you can see CBD Unlimited. That's our primary CBD brand that we launched in 2014. We're actually one of the original pioneers in the CBD/hemp industry. As a background for Endexx, it's been a publicly traded company for 20 plus years. It was a company that I took over back in 2003. I turned it into an incubator company and we started building companies. And in 2013, in January, we announced that we were going into the cannabis business. And by going into the cannabis business, we couldn't touch the plant. So we built a seed to sale tracking system for government compliance, integrating with business compliance. And through that process, we really learned what a mess the cannabis industry was, how nascent it was, how much change and implementation could be built into it to become a primary industry. Look out 8 years later, and we were correct. So during the process, my background was actually, I was a specialist in biotech sciences, pharmatech sciences, and even laser tech sciences back from the 90s when I was an investment banker and broker. So when I looked at the cannabis industry, to me, it was a biotech play. It is a consumer play, but it's a biotech play. You had specific molecules that performed specific functions that had broad-based application. So in 2014, when the hemp pilot program was launched through the government and made it legal to work with these molecules, we launched a series of clinical studies. We recruited doctors. They were doctors that were podiatrists generally, but they were dealing with patients that were dealing with diabetic neuropathy. And that neuropathy is a nerve pain or nerve sensation that doesn't go away, that they try to beat up with opiates and very, very strong painkillers that a lot of times create addictions and secondary side effects from not just the condition itself, but from the use of these medications. We wanted to figure out two primary things. One is, how much do you need to take of CBD? And at what level of dosing did you achieve a therapeutic value? So we recruited 20 patients at a time. We started with one doctor. We tested vaping. Then we tested oral tincture drops. Then we tested capsule formulations that melted in the stomach. And then we targeted the small intestine or the upper GI tract. And then the fifth study was topicals. And what we found out was this. We would raise the dosing level up until all 20 patients in each trial were experiencing a therapeutic value. And the way we measured it was, did pain reduce? If they started off anywhere from a 6 to 10 on the pain scale, did we reduce their pain after 1 week, after 2 weeks, and after 4 weeks of testing? On average, what we achieved in each one of the trials, we would elevate the dosing until we achieved all 20 patients, and they all had experience between 65 and, well, the average was 65 to 68% pain reduction. 68% for men, 65% for women, but it was very close, statistically speaking. And we knew at that time that there is something special about CBD, because it was only taking between 3 and 10 milligrams to achieve a therapeutic value. So that's the background. Now, let me walk you through a little bit of the presentation. We're Endexx Corporation, EDXC. We have multiple subsidiaries and wholly owned operations. Our primary one is CBD Unlimited. This is one of our new taglines, Live Life Unlimited. Let's see if we can, Arthur, you're in charge of moving it, I believe. Safe harbor statement, we will use some forward-looking statements, and you know the rest of the rigmarole. There it is for you. Here's our company timeline. Go back to 2013, we announced our M3 Hub platform. 14, we announced a Gorilla Tech dispensing platform that could safe harbor high-risk items, reduce shrink, and create a compliance tracking platform. That's in the dispensary world, and that's still an operating, ongoing project. It's still illegal to sell marijuana, just like cigarettes, through a machine. So we're waiting for some legislation there to make it okay to dispense products properly. 2015, we started introducing the products that were derived from the clinical studies. We used the science and compliance platform that we built through the dosing and targeted delivery systems to build our scientific formulations, and we started rolling out products into the market. 2016, we introduced our first dog line. We finished a small dog trial. We found that the dogs, delivering it into the dogs, you got a really good result when they bit down a couple times, release CBD in the mouth, and then secondarily release the rest of it in their upper chamber of their stomach. And there we found tremendous results. We started making some acquisitions. We bought Holistic Earth Remedies. That was our topical play. Maggie had a very strong line of all natural delivery systems with premium ingredients that all had functional purpose. So we took that tech, we got the dosing ranges into the right level, and we started testing on topical applications. And we have, to this day, we're one of the leading companies in topicals. Endexx then, in 2018, when the hemp bill was signed and it officially became legal to sell hemp-derived products into commercial application, our first major grab was Walgreens. We're now in about 4,000 Walgreens nationwide, not in every state, but I think we're up to maybe 26, 27 states right now, and it's expanding. In fact, we have 2 more SKUs, I believe, that are launching in June. So the products that are sitting in Walgreens right now are Balmex and Mistex. They're in the pain aisle. They're registered as OTC topical analgesics, and CBD is a sub-ingredient in that mixture, and it performs very well on a topical pain analgesic. 2019 was where we started seeing the growth. We're now at about 6,000 stores nationwide. 2020, we secured, was the crazy year, and we all had to deal with COVID one way or another. We were scheduled to go into 5 major mass retail chains across the country. COVID put the kibosh on that, and when we knew that COVID was shutting down and we saw the stores and the buyers were staying at home, all the trade shows were canceled, we took that time to kind of retrench ourselves. We were moving so quickly, it was really difficult to keep up. So we were in negotiations with a major distributor to be our master distributor, and that distributor had very good numbers. They're in 1.5 million stores nationwide. 70% of those stores are convenience stores. They had 15,000 salespeople. They became an essential property, so they never shut down last year. They're the largest liquor distributor in the United States. And we went through the due diligence platform. We got 15 states registered through their platform from a compliance standpoint in distributing CBD products into the market. And they've now launched into 9 states. They've added about a little over 100 store chains that are multiple stores deep in the 6 states. That's expanding to 15 stores here in the next 2 quarters. And then by this time next year, they should be at least in 40 states. We believe that over the course of legislation here, we'll see language coming in from the federal government that allows us to start selling beverages, snacks, and other things other than topicals into the space, and we expect to grow with that distributor as well. Second item down there in 2020, we were looking for a major influencer. We've tried influencers, we've tried different types of advertising. None of them really, they never resonate because you have to educate your audience too much. So we landed on a very good relationship with DJ Khaled. Now, everybody on this call may or may not know him. He's a 45-year-old, very successful entrepreneur, but he's the leading music producer and one of the leading talent acts in the world today. He scores and composes music and collaborates with every major star, from Justin Bieber to Drake to Puff Daddy. So, you know, all these different guys he works with, and you'll see him in commercials like the Geico commercial. He's the motivational toothbrush coach. So we looked at his numbers and what he does for business. We entered into a joint venture with him versus an endorsement deal. The joint venture allows him to make money as we succeed in that brand. The brand was lightly announced last week. It's called Blesswell, and it's in the men's world, and you'll see a lot more about that middle of the month when we do our product launch. So that gives us up to date there. Why don't we roll forward? Executive summary. We're projecting sales, and it won't be calendar year, it won't be fiscal year 2021. That is we end in September. That's our fiscal quantity. But everything that we're deploying right now will lead to $15 to $20 million in revenue in the next 12 months, starting June. So from June to June, that should get us to $20 million in revenue. It'll be that hockey stick where we've doubled every year in revenues selling hemp products. We got up close to $2 million last year, even in the COVID time, and we're expecting that hockey stick really just to take off from this point forward. So CBD Unlimited as a whole, we sell CBD oils, topicals, capsules, snacks, and beverages, and we have a line of dog and equine products now. The equine products just came out of testing, field testing. The results are phenomenal. We experienced bone growth, stomach reparations, foundering, and situations where horses would have been put down, but now they're walking, playing, riding again. It's fantastic. And we'll share some of those videos with you over time. Right now, we have about 450 million shares outstanding. 268 million of those are in the float. That's important for our next purpose, which is our strategic push to uplist the company to NASDAQ. Market cap sitting around $100 million right now, kind of fluctuating with the rest of the cannabis industry, and we're prepared to move forward.
So I don't want to push you to the ask, but for the people that are listening, at some point, just be sure to let them know how to participate. I know you're going to do that, but I just want to remind you.
Participate in the overall company?
Yes.
Well, you can buy the stock under EDXC right now while we're sitting on the phone. So EDXC is trading on the OTC markets. It's widely held across all of the major brokerage firms. Currently trading, I think, around 13, 14 cents, right around its, just above its 200-day moving average. There will be an opportunity coming up. We're building a syndicate right now to do we're getting ready to file an S1 filing with a package deal that should bring in institutional support. The syndicate, you know, I think the best way for people to do right now is if you're an interested party and you want to do a private investment in the company, just reach out, contact the company, contact me, and we can talk about something before the S1. But really, we're preparing for an S1 filing that will bring in a syndicate of at least 5 institutions that will help support the market and grow this thing to where it needs to be.
Excellent. That's exactly what I was looking for. I didn't mean to push you into that, Todd.
But that's okay. I would rather be random than to the book here. Go ahead and advance us there. And there's a look at our product line. If you look up there top there, that Maggie's Balm, that was the acquisition of the Holistic Earth Remedies. That one on the left, Maggie's Balm, is our #1 selling SKU. It's just a fantastic product. It caters to the 42-year-old mom all the way to the 95-year-old person sitting in their home that's more sedentary, but it eases pain and causes relief immediately. Same thing with the mist. It's a little bit more intense. You spray it where it hurts. The pain goes away. It lasts for about 4 hours. Maggie's Balm lasts anywhere from 4 to 8 hours per application. During COVID, we shrunk it down to these point of purchases, is what that display in the middle is. It's essentially the size of a Carmex container and allows people to try it without the investment of buying a $60 balm. Now, that balm will last a few months. A little goes a long way. The same formula, but with some increased ingredients for OTC certification is the Balmex and Mistex. That's what you find in Walgreens today. And then we have our line of animal products. So they're all very high grade, all natural products. They're all tested before they go to the market. One of the new product lines that we introduced here in 2020 was what we call the green line or the value line. This is a price point play. If you look at CBD products in the market today, you'll see 50 milligrams of CBD, 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams of CBD in a container that has 4 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces of fluid in it. There's almost no therapeutic component to it because the concentration is too low to elicit a response. So we built a line of topicals that all have 400 milligrams of CBD in it that address the issue that you're looking for, which is some reduction of inflammation on the skin or some type of relief from stiffness, mobility issues, or other things. And that's what that green line is. Every one of the formulations is scientific, it's logged, it's registered with the government, and then we do the certificates of analysis are found on the QR code. And those are our certifications of all our facilities. Better products, better you. We decided a long time ago that we're going to make the highest quality product in the market. We're not going to compromise. So even when we're working on a price point of $19.99 or $14.99, it still has to have therapeutic value. We're not going to sell a product that someone's not willing to buy again. And in order for them to buy it again, they have to achieve some type of value from it. So we've built that. And this is what we're looking for. So skip down to acquisition potential. We've looked at the market. We've talked to some very large players in the market. Once we're to about 50,000 stores and accelerating to that 100,000 store space, we become a primary target for acquisition. The major consumer product companies that want to get into the CBD space, they really don't want to do the heavy lifting. They want to buy distribution. They want to buy successful product in the market, and they're willing to pay up for it. So my feeling is over the next 2 to 3 years, it puts us in a position as we're on this acceleration phase to be acquired by, a major consumer brand. You could call it a Johnson & Johnson, P&G, GlaxoSmithKline, someone who's in medical therapeutic products, but haven't entered in yet to the CBD space. They know its value. We see them at the trade shows, and that's where we have the conversation. So we are a viable candidate a year or more out. There's acquisitions that are out there, from our standpoint, as we become one of the largest companies, we're looking at brands that are sitting out there. We're looking at products that they either don't have the infrastructure or they've got to 2,000 stores and they really can't expand anymore unless they join a force like ours that has the master distribution agreements in place. So we can make some acquisitions and we can add distribution to our platform. Move on. Talking about management, it's really critical in this market. When we came into the cannabis market, it literally was just a bunch of what we call pot guys. There were guys that were working in the field during the time. They would do their harvest, they would bring it into the store, or they would sell it still on the street. A lot has changed in the last 10 years. And more professionals that are more traditional to how do you build a product, launch a product, get the product on shelf, and then support that product on the pull through. That part of the industry is growing now. Last year, I made an acquisition of a company and I picked up Steve Heron and Ron Cotting in the process, who had launched multiple products and supplements, pet and equine, and basic consumer products over the previous 10 years together. And they wanted the challenge of helping build me out this industry. I'm surrounded by ex-Walgreens people. All of my board members, my special advisors, they all have anywhere from 15 to 40 years experience in Walgreens and pharmacy. So we use that at the beginning to create our template. And by having the knowledge in there, what you end up doing in the beginning is not making mistakes or minimizing the mistakes to where they don't cost you so much, it can actually put you out of business. So winning a contract like Walgreens, it sounds fantastic, but it comes with risk. And we've established that real estate, and we really looked at it as a real estate play more than a revenue play. As time goes by and the brand gets traction, that real estate will start to pay off more and more. Good distribution partners, a very big market. You know, in the men's grooming alone, we're launching a brand new line into that space. There are no CBD products there yet. So men's grooming, if you look at Harry's and Dollar Shave Club, even razor companies that are competing against Gillette and Schick are getting bought out for $1 billion or more. We're plugging the celebrity side into there where the face is important. If you think about this right here, I'm presenting to you on a screen, and this is my whole level of success. How good can a person look? They have to have their game face on in the new world of business. And when they're out in the field, you know, we're there to take care of them and actually provide some therapeutic products that are built into existing high-end products. And that's part of what we're targeting. The pet is over $1 billion market. We think we have anywhere from 50 to $100 million of potential there, both in dog and in horse as a combo. So if you're looking at 0.5% sales targets or 1% of each addressable market, in the next 5 years, we can get to $500 million in revenue, which makes us a very valuable asset. Okay, next one.
Before I move on to the next one, I can't figure out how to type into the chat box. So I just want to remind everybody that please send your questions in and we'll answer them. And I could use the men's grooming products, as you can well see.
COVID really changed that, Arthur. I mean, you know, if you think about it, we have these kind of ebb and flows throughout the year where men grow beards and they wear longer hair or shorter hair. COVID really changed that, and people are now experimenting again on a broad scale with facial hair, with different hairstyles, how they treat their skin. You know, it has changed the dynamics of the market, and we've built now 9 SKUs just for men to take care of that, anywhere from shaver rash and burns to men of color who get, you know, these really hot pockets and their skin raises up after they shave. We've figured out a way to address some of that inflammation. So it's not just going to be a pretty smell good product. It's going to be a functional product that helps men look their best and feel their best.
Yeah, super cool.
Yes, you're talking about razor bumps. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's you know, for half the men, the world of men that are out there, they have different sensitivities to their skin, and how their hair grows in causes these issues. And that was one of the primary conditions that we were trying to address. Southern Glacier there, we don't talk about it publicly a lot, but that is the master distributor. They're in 1.5 million stores. We're targeting 150,000 of those stores in a realistic approach to how we're trying to get. We've built our products. We're now compliant with 7-Eleven. So we think 7-Eleven, Circle K's, multiple very large convenience components are going to be gathered up this year. You know, you look at a 7-Eleven and they have 15,000 stores nationwide that are corporate. So we have, as Southern lands their clients, their 5,000 store gets, 1,000 store gets, 100 store gets. So that'll start to grow and start compounding over the course of the next couple of years. There's our boy DJ Khaled. If you didn't know him before, look at that face. We got a lot to take care of there. So he's a well-groomed, fascinating guy. He's got Mideastern background. His family immigrated here in the 60s. He grew up in New Orleans, built himself from the ground up, became a major music producer, radio personality in the Miami area. And we're introducing a product line. If you look at that green set right in the middle, that's ultimately what it looks like. The brand name is called Blesswell. So that's we're going to start a series of news releases and build out on the buzz. If you go to blesswell.co, not .com, but .co right now, you can register there to start getting posts. And that's where we're launching the product from, this entire product. So it'll be a standalone, carrying its own brand. And we've already set up distribution outlets. So initially, we're going to market as a direct to consumer. We're looking to sell anywhere from 25,000 to 50,000 units on the first rollout. And then a unit would be a 4-pack like you see there. So we're looking at anywhere from $79.99 to $149.99 per kit going out the door. Once we pull through the numbers, we'll do a secondary production run that gets ready for September. And then you start looking at No Shave November and you're looking at the holidays, we're building gift sets and packages for men, and that will roll out. And that's when we'll start penetrating into the retail markets. If you look at the news release we put out yesterday, we hired Beauty Barrage, who is one of the primary placement agents for product into the cosmetic world, especially places like Sephora, Ulta, Nordstrom's, Macy's, all the major cosmetic counters. The financing instruments, we're looking at some debt financing. We'll take on the amount of debt that we can cash flow provide, unless there is an option to convert it at the future value of the stock price. So most of our investors up to date are very proactive. They're very entrenched with the company. They're helping the company build its business. I am the largest shareholder. I've been funding the company for the better part of 15 years. I'm very selective about our investment partners. I'm not interested in toxic money. There is convertible money in there, but it's non-toxic. These are people I've done business with for 20 years, and we grow businesses. So we're in good hands. We're strategically, we're moving towards, like I said, a NASDAQ uplisting. The way we get there is we filed our Form 10 on April 8th with all of our PCAOB audited financials. So we have 8 years of audited financials that finally lined up with the Form 10 at the same time the audit was done, and that's been filed into the SEC. That was the last trigger event we needed to move into a higher exchange and actually bring on the institutional investment banking world. All right, we can go to the next one. There's some basic projections, 0.1% of the market, 0.5% of the market, 1% of the market. If we're just conservative in our numbers, we're starting to achieve $38 million, $43 million of revenue annually, and in pretty short order. If we grow with the market and we expand with the market, we do feel comfortable that we're going to land between $256 million in revenue and $500 million in revenue, starting at 50,000 stores, growing to 150,000 stores. So as you see us add the real estate and the door to door, that's where we're going to get to these particular numbers. If you take the direct to consumer approach, we're striving to get to the $20 million a year annually minimum on our internet, on our e-commerce platforms. So we're trying to stay as conservative. We're not telling you we're going after 5% of the market. We're looking at very small fractions of what we do really well, and this is where we land. So we're in a growth market. The market is still very, very early stage. We're only doing a couple $2 billion a year as an industry. But I used to tell people, and I've told people before, when you see CBD in your Wheaties, the market's peaking out. And that is not that far away. We're probably 3 to 5 years away from seeing CBD in just about every product that's out there. But most of them will be ineffective products. So we've built the best of the best, and we'll grow with that. We'll stay in the premium sector of this market. Okay. And there's our growth curve. This is historical. We're basically doubling up. And, we're doing this without tremendous marketing budget. We've done this with organic growth, on the boots on the ground type salespeople, people cold calling, but it's really word of mouth. We wanted to see what the natural market would create. This year that we start here in May, we're getting ready to do $2 million a year in advertising, $5 million a year in advertising, and growing with the curve. But as we land the real estate, we have to support the shelf. So the marketing plan becomes the most important part of this whole process. And if we doubled every year, great. But what we're doing is we're double. Now we're positioning the company to scale to 20 million, 50 million, 180 million, 256. That's our minimum target numbers right now. And that's what we're building to support. And there's that, in another layout, here's what we're looking at. So just in men's grooming alone, we could achieve this. This is our conservative underlining just on the core products that we have today. So we're pretty well diversified, and I get a lot of press. I've, seasonally and over time, I have spoken publicly. I'm an invited guest. I sit on panels internationally and here in the States. I do a lot of speaking, and we get featured a lot. It's refreshing for people when they talk to people who are educated, that are on point with the subject matter, and really do understand the CBD industry. The rest of it is, it almost sounds like snake oil out there. So there's a difference between the professional side of the business and then the cash grab side of the business. And we're in that professional side, growing the cash flow component of the company strategically. So here's your investment potential. The company is poised to grow over 3 to 4 times annually through 2025 on a compound basis. So the industry is only expected to grow at 25% a year, and we're looking at 300 to 400% growth average per year stretch over that 5-year period. Through the operational efficiencies, I can tell you this on the gross margin side of the industry. When we got into business, CBD was $90,000 a kilo. Now it's reasonably priced. We've restructured all of our buyers, all of our vendors, everything. And our products, range anywhere from 52% margin to 71% margin at distributor pricing. So when we start going direct to consumer, we're actually making 80% or more rates of return on each one of our products. And that's with the adjusted pricing. The expanded brand recognition. We've hired in the last 6 months 2 primary marketing agencies. They work with us, they work with Southern Glacier, they work with the celebrity component, and these are people who are already in the industry. So we have to rely on them for their expertise, their connections, how quickly they get us into premium spots for product launches. We have a whole strategy right now with our celebrity partner to be what we call on the couch. So sitting there with Ellen and Oprah and Jimmy Kimmel, talking about his new business, talking about his product, supporting it. We have channels of influence that will work with him that will bring back the endorsement. It's just layered effect, and you have to have that network built in to be truly successful in this business, and we're doing it in a very efficient way. Peter Governale, our board of directors. I love this board. Peter is an expert in the liquor and branding industry. He's built multiple lines and gives us good advisory on how to deal with a distributor like Southern Glacier, who specializes in alcohol, knows the ticks and talks of that arena. Dr. Brandwine was one of the original doctors that worked with us in Florida in our testing, continues to use CBD in his practice and is a long-term supporter. Dustin Sullivan is our former chief operating officer. He served as a year for that, but he was a former DMM, a district manager and buyer for Walgreens. He brought that pharmacy space to the table and really has supported us. Myself, I've been here the longest, so I get to be at the top. Executive team, same thing. Ron Cotty, Steve, I told you about. I bought their company last year, and they were boots on the ground. They know how to make the sausage, they know how to sell the sausage, and they don't mind eating the sausage. Those are the dirty parts of building these companies. Rob Hastie's 40 years at Walgreens. Tim Hayes has been a partner of mine for a long time. He's an 80-year-old practicing pharmacist, and gave me good guidance on the compliance side of the industry. And Dan Kitty, another advisor of ours, was the other primary doctor that worked in the trials, and he continues to work with us in the field and supports the science. And this is the product set we're going after right now. We are in conversations with every single one of these groups, at various different stages, but we've known these groups now for 4 years, and we're at various levels of adoption into their networks. That's it. That's the story of Endexx Corporation. CBD Unlimited is the driving engine behind everything. And we really did build a company, with a mission where you need to live your life unlimited. That means something to us. We get a lot of testimony, and we get a lot of testimony of people, especially older people, 50 and above, You get your 60, 70, 80-year-olds that thought it was over. They were living sedentary lifestyles. They were having mobility issues. They couldn't wash their hair. They couldn't reach up and get a coffee cup out of the cabinet. They couldn't finish their dishes and put them away. Just super simple things in life that we take for granted. And when you introduce CBD back into their system, they start getting the mobility back. They start getting energy. They start sleeping better. They start functioning better in life, and they start living a better life. So truly we have, a product that improves the quality of life. And that's been our driving motive this entire time. We haven't bought into the, CBD oil is the cure for everything. We won't make claim statements. We are a compliant company. And, it's a very.
You have an interloping visitor?
Do we?
I don't know.
Good. I'm looking for the chat box also to open up. Okay, so the chat box is open, guys. This is where you get the most information out of Todd. I do the presentations at corporate events, and I rarely even stick to it. There's a lot of people who are very curious about the industry. What does it do? How does it work? Do you need a prescription? Is it legal? I think a lot of those answers have already been put into the market, and people are really becoming comfortable with it. From an industry standpoint, it's the federal regulation piece. The Safe Banking Act almost passed. It was a 60% margin or so on Monday. So it didn't get that's already been passed 3 times before, but it was usually attached to other bills and other junk that was, politically going to keep things from getting through. But it went through as a standalone bill. In order for this to be a successful industry, regardless if it's hemp industry like ours or the cannabis industry, you have to have banking. You have to have the fundamental structure put in place. With banking comes compliance. So now it gives companies something to comply to. We have some very loose language out there in how we can market and sell the product. And it's really right now based on the U.S. Department of Agriculture is the ones that are behind it. Everybody's waiting for that language to come from the FDA, but it really comes down to Congress. If Congress passes the laws, the language could become customary to the supplement industry, the food and beverage industry. It gives a level of compliance that everybody can comply to. Then if you're a bad person or you're a bad company, then you can get penalized. Right now, it still is a bit of the Wild West. So we're one of the companies that have been lobbying for the compliance platforms, how to build it, what's efficient, how should it be treated. It's not a drug. It's a natural molecule. There hasn't ever been a case where Big Pharma has won a case that they can patent a natural molecule. It has to be synthesized to be patented, or it has to be part of a process. So this has to be treated as a food group. And CBD as a nutritional product is going to be that primary leader out of all of this. We look at the market, Arthur, as if there's 300 million people in the United States, 10% of the people at any given time are going to use cannabis to do whatever they want to do, have a good time, relax, party, or use it for medicine. 90% of the public could use something like CBD that's non-psychoactive. So it can be a broad-based therapeutic platform, a nutritional platform that can affect everybody's lives, not as an option, but as an essential. And I think that's ultimately where the market's going to go and where it needs to get.
So we have a question that was related to the comments you were just making. Is the distribution of CBD production impacted by federal regulation, which I think you answered, but you can comment. And then, for example, can the products be sold in Walgreens, et cetera, in all national stores, or just states that it is approved for recreational use?
It's not really a definition of recreational use. Each state, it really comes down to state guidelines. If the state doesn't provide a compliance platform or guideline for companies, then it defaults to the USDA. So the states had a couple years to get their own process in order. And there are some states that still haven't come up with their own compliance metrics. So companies like Walgreens, they have to evaluate each state. And it's really not tied to what cannabis, it's by association, but it's not the decision-making for whether you can sell. Nationally, you can sell anything from hemp, including the CBD, as long as you're in compliance with the total amount of THC that exists in that material. So that's the general guideline. Some of the states, like Michigan, for instance, has made it onerous for stores to even open up. They want to charge every store that wants to sell the product $400 or $500 just to have the right to sell CBD. Well, if you look at Walgreens, that's 800 stores. So they're going to push that cost off on us to pay for the right to sell through Walgreens in that store. Chances are we would not break even in 2 years if we did that today. In the future, that may make it, it might be a viable option, but not yet. So it's those very simple things that, you know, it's not a set market. It's still kind of an ebb and flow market that's going to get us there. You're on mute, Arthur.
Sorry, we have another question, Todd. Kindly comment on your primary 2 to 3 competitors and where you are positioned relative to your strongest competitors.
Well, the primary competitors are the most well-known, that were the most well-funded. Charlotte's Web is the leader in the industry. They made all this possible. You know, the story of one little girl, and that was spread out by Sanjay Gupta on CNN. That's what started this whole thing. That's what made this whole thing not possible, but it made it popular also. So it became a mother initiative, parents taking care of their kids. There was a very feral and guttural response to that, and it made all of this possible. We need Charlotte's Web to be successful. Now, Charlotte's Web, in my opinion, some of their products are really, really good, and some of their products are insufficient. But they are a leader in the industry, and we support their success. MedTerra is another major competitor to us, especially in the topical space. They came in with funding. They came in from a marketing standpoint, not necessarily a product development standpoint like we did. So they've gotten themselves into 30,000 plus stores in short order, but they actually grew themselves so fast that they couldn't support, the revenues couldn't support how they raised their money. So it creates challenges out there. And this happened industry-wide. A lot of people went public, they raised capital, and they went out and overspent on marketing trying to create their brand. Well, 4,000 companies were trying to create brand in the last 3 years. Half of those have gone out of business. COVID shook a bunch of them out, and it really got rid of them. So everybody in their mind believed that they could go out, if they just put CBD in something, they were going to make a fortune. That's how most businesses start. Now it's getting down, you're starting to shake the tree and getting all the guys that can't sustain or don't have good product, they're starting to fall away from the market. And the good ones are starting to rise. So there's some other ones like Sagely and Level 2, and there's some other emerging brands. And I think in the end, we're probably going to end up with roughly 30 major brands, us being one of them, in the market, and then we'll see consolidation at that level. So you'll start to see consolidation of the bigger brands starting to fall under the umbrella of bigger companies that can ultimately support the marketing necessary to support the shelf once they're there.
Like Canopy. I mean, I'm not.
Canopy's
what happened with
Canopy is so well funded, they can go any direction they want and fail and not go out of business. Doesn't mean they know what they're doing at everything, but they see the numbers too. They look at the numbers, they're going, this is tremendous, we've got to own it. And they're writing checks out there and trying to buy market share. They're working with some of the same people we're working with. And because they have deeper pockets than other people, they can get in that front door faster than other people. Doesn't mean they perform anybody, but they have that ability to absorb loss going in.
So we're gonna make sure everybody's in touch with you, but we need to wrap it up now. But what is your you want to just give a final statement, comment, and suggest what people might do to participate?
Yeah, in summary, Endexx has grown very nicely. We've deployed strategically. We've built our assets. We've done all the R&D. We've developed all the products. We're in final phases of consolidating some of our premium assets into its premium space, the extra strength space, and the value proposition space. We've made the product now available where you can do an impulse buy and afford it. And if you really like the product, go online and buy the product a second way. So we've set ourselves up to scale organically as well as scale massively with our companies. All of our manufacturers are certified. All of our components, our vendors, our hemp people, our CBD people, we are certified from top to bottom. And it puts us in a very unique place getting in the front door and getting on shelf. We get invited in, we get asked to come in. And this 2021, 2022 cycle is going to be, I think, the year of hemp and CBD. You know, it's going to be that full adoption into the market. If you don't have your product sets in correctly, then you're missing the whole industry. So with that, the way to participate with us is go buy some stock in the open market. You know, EDXC is available. It's trading anywhere from 500,000 shares to 10 million shares a day. It's becoming a liquid instrument. The second part is if you're interested in private placement and you have family office money that you want to deploy into the space, reach out to me. You can reach out to endexx@endexx.com is the primary email that I'm involved with. And we can set up a meeting. One of the benefits of being involved in the open market right now is with the registration of the Form 10, this really does open up the market for additional investors. We have pent up demand for our stock, and that'll start to alleviate, and people will start to be able to participate in the purchase of the stock in the open market. Immediately, starting May 3rd, May 5th range, when the Form 10 goes effective, that's when we're going to pursue the S1, which is the registration statement that puts us in a position to be banked properly. And secondly, to get onto NASDAQ. So by September 30th, the goal is to be a NASDAQ listed company, to be carrying a market cap closer to $500 million with growth behind it, where every $20 million is going to generate 4 to 5 cents profitability in our current capital structure. So if you start attaching a 20 PE to every 4 cents, we're looking at 80 cents per $20 million of stock under current market conditions. So as we accelerate into the NASDAQ component, I don't think we're going to be a 20 PE company. I think ultimately what we're going to be is a leading growth company where the PE is catching up, you know, on the back end. But it's more importantly that we get the real estate distribution points. We have global assets that are starting to deploy now, and that we become one of the dominant key players in the industry that sits up there with the ability to either be purchased by a major buyer or become one of the dominant players through acquisition and internal growth. So
it's super helpful. Thank you, Todd. That was excellent presentation. And
thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, everybody. I know times are still a little bit goofy, but if you want to come somewhere where you don't have to wear a mask, come and visit Arizona. It's a good opportunity for you, and feel free to swing by the corporate offices. I'm always happy to show you around.
Awesome. That's a great offer. Elton, thanks again for introducing Todd and company to us. And thank you all for joining us today. And as I always say, thank you for spending the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. So until next time, thanks very much.
Thanks, Arthur.
Bye.
Thanks, Todd. Great presentation.
Thank you.